Let's talk about toxicity in a real estate brokerage or a team. There are a few toxic situations that, while they're happening, can implode an entire brokerage or a team if you're not careful. And if you see these toxic situations, run, because you will not be successful in a situation like that. And if you are, I give you kudos because you're pretty much ignoring all of the drama around you. The first situation that I'm going to talk about that's super toxic is you all have that, every brokerage has that one person, that one asshole that is like so pessimistic, so lame. They basically tell their broker or their team leader that every excuse in the book, they have it all. Like, my dog ate my CMA, my kid is sick. Your kid is sick like every week. These people can never make their calls. They never show up to meetings. They always have some super lame excuse. They're always sick, and they're always having like issues with everybody else around them, like their baby daddy, their best friend, their parents. They have no good relationships with all of the people around them, and they let that victimize themselves. And then it spreads into the workplace. So they never show up 100%. They never even show up 50%. And they basically use all these crazy excuses to get out of everything and any like accountability known to man. If you see these people, run. I know you feel like, oh, I want to fix that person, and you want to help them, and they're like always just so sad and surly, and they always need help with showings. They're users. They're going to use you to death to show properties for them, for their clients, because they always have some situation. Next toxic situation is team leaders who are ultra ego, ultra arrogant, and competing with all of the people on their team. And they're literally like bashing anyone and everyone openly in front of all the other people on the team, basically because they're trying to threaten and shame people into working harder like they work. These team leaders also tend to give like really crappy splits and like no leads. I've met a few of them. I probably had some of those toxic traits as a team leader in the past. When I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. I've learned from that, you guys, but I want to be inspiring, inspirational. I want to be teaching and giving. But anyway, that's my own inside. But, toxic team leaders show up like nasty, and they're always like pushy and complaining about how nobody does any work, and they're always yelling at everybody. I've actually heard of some team leaders like cussing people out. I've never done that. It's just like so shady. I don't know why anyone would stay working at a place like that or a brokerage where someone just says, I don't have time for you. Stop calling me. If you have a toxic broker or team leader, you need to run. All right, this is toxic situation number 3. And it grows. This type of situation grows within a brokerage or a team. And it's usually a queen bee that starts it. And it's a toxic culture bully group inside the brokerage. It's a clique. And on the outside, it appears that these 2 or 3, 4 agents are super great friends. But in reality, they're all in competition with each other, and they secretly hate each other, and they're frenemies. But they all like ooze like, I love you, girl, and blah, blah, blah. And it's usually women, and they nonstop, there's always a queen bee. The queen bee will like basically talk toxically about the brokerage, about the splits, about what you're getting. They're always negative. The person who's running the group runs the show, and they will basically go against the grain of the culture of the brokerage, pretend to be about it, but then they're going against it constantly. They're talking trash about the place where they work to the other ones who will listen and validate their feelings. So these mini groups inside a brokerage sometimes like implode on their own because these girls are backstabbing bitches, right? So they implode on their own sometimes. Sometimes on a team, they go against the team leader and they try to manipulate and strangle the team leader into better splits or um, more different things for the team, right? They're always trying to get something more out of somebody. And these people are also users, and a lot of times the little group that's with them, that's going along with everything they say, doesn't actually realize that they're being used as flying monkeys. Ha! So they also get used and discarded. So I've seen them on brokerages and teams where they go and they start a whole nother team together and then it never works because again, the ringleader is toxic and then the relationships all disperse and then they all go somewhere else. So if you've been in real estate as long as I have, which is like 26 years, you see all these toxic situations and you like think, okay, if someone's cozying up to you at a brokerage and they're talking shit about the BIC or the team leader, you probably need to question if they're talking about you too. And what is their goal with all of that? Like, why do they work there then? If they don't like it so much, why would you stay somewhere for 5, 7, or 10 years? It's typically because they're so insecure and they're just toxic people. So they would never go out on their own and start their own thing because they actually don't want to be held accountable for anything. And yet another toxic situation at a brokerage is a brokerage or a broker or a team leader that tells you that there's only one or two ways to get business and that is it. Like, I only want you to do open houses or I only want you to make outbound phone calls and I don't want you doing anything else. Typically, this is a person or a leader that only believes in that and they're only passionate about that type of business. There's multiple pillars of business. There's multiple ways of getting business. You don't have to be a slave to one or two things that you might not like doing. Okay. So if you're in an environment and it's starting to scream that it's wrong, that you're getting the wrong advice, then I would consider changing my environment. All right. In the last toxic situation I'm going to talk about, this one's a big one because a lot of people feel it. You guys always tell me in the comments and DM me with this one. And it is literally when agents go to work for a place just based on a split, like the lowest split possible. And then they have no one to ask and talk questions, like ask questions. Their broker doesn't answer. They don't even know their broker, or they ask people questions and no one has time for them, and there really isn't like any kind of culture at all established because the only reason most people work there is because they want to do real estate alone and they just want the best split possible. So if you're a newer agent, don't join that toxic situation. You need help, you need people to talk to, you need like offices to go to. I'm just saying that's my opinion. If you don't believe it, that's fine. But anyway, if you like hearing about this kind of stuff and behavior inside a brokerage, please like this post, comment what you think a toxic situation is at your brokerage, and then also share this for other people.